see how well in the winter conditions the hempcrete has held up. We've had freezing down to 8 degrees Fahrenheit here, back up to 32, back down. It's gotten to 40 degrees, and it's done extremely well in this weather. So once it warms up, we'll put the finishing render on it.
Cannabis hemp is the #1 food, fuel, fiber, paper, medicine out of any plant on earth.
Amongst the thousands of products made from hemp, one of the most extraordinary is Henry Ford's plastic car. Built in 1941, it contained cellulose fibers derived from hemp, sisal, and wheat straw. The plastic was lighter than steel, yet could withstand 10 times the impact without denting.
Now, today we're able to produce over 50,000 different things from that plant. Practically everything you're looking at right now can be made from hemp. Now, 1 acre is only about 65 square meters. Not a very big area. But 1 acre of hemp will produce 500 gallons of ethanol. Well, that'll run your car a long ways. But there's new enzyme processes out right now that they tell me that they can get as much as 1,800 gallons of ethanol per acre. Now, 1,800 gallons would heat your house, heat your hot water, run your car, and you'd have a few hundred gallons left over. And don't think for a second that your car can't run on alcohol, because right now, over half the cars in Brazil are running on alcohol made from sugarcane. And hemp is a superior plant to sugarcane because it has the highest cellulose content. It'll produce the most alcohol by weight.
At Poet, we have a unique way that we process biomass into ethanol or cellulose into ethanol. We do that by first collecting the stover, which in this case is corn cobs and some of the light husks and leaves that come off the corn stalk. We then process that at our facility, basically take it through a milling process first. It then goes on to a pre-treatment step where we break down those particles even further through a enzymatic hydrolysis step where we convert the cellulose and hemicellulose into sugars. Those sugars then move to a fermentation stage where over time they're converted to ethanol. That ethanol is then separated from that mixture, and the remainder, which becomes a byproduct, then can be used to power not just the cellulosic plant that we're operating to do this whole process, but also can be used to power other facilities that could be located next door, such as a grain-based ethanol plant or an electric generating plant.
The American government and the Canadian government had this plant listed as a non-medicinal plant. Now, if you look it up, the American government since 2003 have had medical patents on that plant. Medical patents for a non-medicinal plant? Does that make any sense to you? My name is Rick Simpson, and I'm here in the beautiful city of Rijeka to speak about the use of hemp medicine. What's truly happened here is years ago, big money has manipulated governments and all kinds of organizations into keeping this plant away from the public because it's so medicinal. And not only that, it's an energy source. It can feed the planet too on top of that because the hemp seeds are one of the most nutritious things you can eat. It's endless what we can do with this plant, and then we will not be at the mercy of these big energy companies. We can all supply our own energy needs. This is the greatest medicine on this planet for treating all types of diseases like cancer, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, chronic pain. I could sit here and go on for the next hour because In reality, this medicine works on all medical conditions. It promotes full body healing, and it doesn't just go after like the condition you have. Like when you go to the medical system and you have say a big tumor, the medical system tries to treat the tumor. They're not treating the underlying condition that's allowing your body to create that tumor. But when you take this oil, it goes after the underlying condition, plus it goes after the tumor. And I mean, we've just seen miraculous results with the use of this medication. And where it's harmless, why shouldn't we all have access to it? There's no reason that this plant couldn't be used to heal the world. And this is the direction we have to go. We have to take back our freedom, and we have to try to get rid of a lot of this pollution that's ruining this planet. Our planet is poisoned. It's in a horrible situation, especially like with that big Gulf oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Then you've got Japan spewing radiation for, well, heaven knows how long. That'll go on. And on top of that, this dependency we have on all this fossil fuels, again, the fossil fuels are poisoning our planet.
The biggest design challenge of the solar arrays was probably just their size. Each solar array is 28 feet long, and so we have 3 of them. And so when the solar arrays are fully deployed, the Juno spacecraft is almost 60 feet in diameter across the solar arrays.
Getting those big solar panels to work the way we expect them to work and produce the amount of power we need, that's been a bit of a challenge.
The solar arrays are pretty interesting. When we deploy them, they'll be generating about 12 kilowatts of power. As we get further and further from the sun, that amount of energy will drop off until we finally get to Jupiter, where we're only generating 400 watts. It's not even enough to run a hairdryer.
Generally, with space exploration, you're pushing the envelope of technology.
Solar panels have improved a bit. The instruments have improved a bit and can run on less power.
A professor at Princeton named Gerard O'Neill conceived of the idea of putting large colonies in space, large artificial places where people could live and work. And what we did was to gather together a group of university people to look at the problem of how you build the very first colony.
This is Taurus, the concept that has evolved from the work of these teams of scientists and engineers. They believe the huge space colony could be built before the year 2000.
The space colony has the ability to provide a facility in space where human beings can conduct fruitful industry. The amount of sunlight that is present in every square mile of space is enormous, and that provides enormous energy. One of the things that one can do is to build very large solar power stations which collect sunlight.
The Earth-like environment would even simulate our gravity as the wheel revolves once each minute.
The other materials like food and water are maintained locally within the colony. The initial supplies are brought up from Earth, and then eventually the colony becomes self-sustaining by utilizing the sunlight that's available all the time in space, by optimizing the temperatures, by not having storms or things like that that damage crops. And we increase the carbon dioxide levels a little bit so the plants grow a little faster. By playing all these tricks, we're able to generate this fairly efficient farm in our design.
From dairy farms to manufacturing, the concept of living and working in space is a possibility with existing technology. That new space home, located 250,000 miles from Earth, would even have a far-out address.